Thanks so much for joining our webinar today. We hope that today's session is helpful for you. We're excited to talk about some updates and to also provide some additional information for you that will hopefully help you with your profiles and grow your business. For those of you who are new to our webinars, my name is Mary Weiss, and I am the content manager here for Zillow Group Mortgages. I'm also the president of our Women's Impact Network, which is a group that helps underserved women throughout the company. My job here is to provide resources and content materials, things like that for all of our lenders, including webinars like this. Along with me today, I have Liz Shehorn. She is the mortgage support manager. So she runs the mortgage support team, and she very kindly stepped up today as Jessica's out on vacation to talk about some topics that are coming up frequently in the customer service portal. If you have any questions for mortgage support and you'd like to get in touch with Liz and her team, you can reach out to them at mortgagesupport@zillowgroup.com. Some logistics here. For those of you who haven't checked out our Lender Resource Center, this is a great resource for you. All of our past webinar recordings are available there, along with some articles and courses and things like that will also be helpful for you. So the link is there on your page. If you have any questions about webinar schedules, topic suggestions, I'm always excited to hear what topics you want to see next in our webinars, or if you have an article that you'd like to see on our site, just let me know. You can reach out to mortgagewebinars@zillowgroup.com. And again, if you have any questions for the support team, you can reach out to mortgagesupport@zillowgroup.com, and someone from that team will reach out to you shortly. So what we're going to cover today, we're going to talk about freeing up your workload with contact relationship managers, which are also lovingly called CRMs. So how are you able to take advantage of those types of tools to help, especially as things get busier with the uptick in seasonality and more business? We'll also talk about our customer satisfaction scores, or what we refer to as CSAT scores, and why you should care about them. This is something we haven't talked a lot about, so it'll be nice for us to finally be able to share some of this with you and then perhaps get some feedback from you about what this means. We'll also cover some additional tips on reviews. I feel like every month we talk about reviews in some capacity, and there are always questions in the customer support portal about reviews. So we want to dedicate a section to that towards reviews. And then of course at the end we'll open for a live Q&A. So you should see a floating toolbar on your screen. If you have any questions, you can pop them into the Q&A or into chats if you prefer to be anonymous, and we'll keep track of that throughout the webinar. We'll try to keep most of the questions towards the end just to make sure we have time for everything, but if something is pressing and it relates to what we're talking about, then we'll go ahead and answer that live for you. All right, so I'm going to hand it off to Liz to kind of start talking a little bit more about CRMs and why they're important and how they make a difference in your business.
You're working very diligently to get everything done that you need to get done, and a lead comes in from Zillow or really any of the websites that you find yourself using daily. And so you can't really drop what you're doing and cultivate that lead. And obviously, in this internet age, speed of contact to that consumer is very important. People are really used to the Amazon type environment. So you're out of toothpaste, boom, you got toothpaste. And that's really where consumers are when it comes to mortgages as well. They're starting to get used to that instant gratification of hearing from someone immediately, and you might not be able to do that. And that's where your CRM is going to come in very handy to you. So CRMs, they allow you to keep notes about your contacts, and they also allow you to have set follow-ups and reminders so that you can go back and be reminded to follow up with that borrower again. Additionally, they can send out email campaigns on your behalf. So while you're sitting in your office getting everything ready for the next day or dealing with a walk-in, an email is being generated out to them. And those emails can say whatever you want them to say, but mostly they're introductions, or, hey, please get these things ready for our phone call, or when would you like to meet? And so that's all happening behind the scenes automatically. And you can create buckets for your leads to flow into, so you know who to follow up with and about what. And it's just a really useful tool that a lot of lenders are just starting to get into. So we have quite a few CRMs that we do partner with. So Zillow, we don't really have our own CRM at this point, but we will partner with almost all of the CRMs. All we need from you is a posting URL. And so if you go back to your CRM sales rep or customer support rep, they should provide you with a posting URL. And if you want your leads to start flowing into your CRM, you would contact mortgage support and we would update that for you on the back end. We are exploring the idea of adding a portal for you to do that yourself. However, at this time, at this juncture, those need to be added by a customer support rep or your sales rep business consultant. And then one of the really amazing benefits of this is that most CRMs are actually cloud-based, so you're never really offline as long as you're online. And so it's really important that you sort of continuously reach out, continuously get in front of those potential borrowers and just remind them that you're there. And that's one of the main features, one of the best features that CRMs provide is that slow drip, that get in front of the borrower, stay in front of the borrower, and you can sort of do that mindlessly because you have this program that's doing it for you. And so as an example, we have a few CRMs that we work with regularly that lenders seem to really enjoy. Big Purple Dot is one. Total Expert is another one that seems to really be kind of launching into the market. Marksman, as some of you may know, is actually a pricing engine that is operated by MoreTech, but they also have some CRM components and then a few others listed in front of you there on the screen. And then Mary, do you have anything to add in regards to CRMs?
Yeah, the list there that you're seeing on your screen is obviously not fully inclusive. There's so many different CRM providers out there. So even if you're not sure if they work with us and if they provide a posting URL, it's always just a good idea to reach out to them and see if that's something they would do. And we actually have a technical person and a technical account manager who can help get that set up if that's something that they want to do. We've actually been able to get a couple of different CRM providers to work with us just because we've had enough people come to us saying, hey, I have the CRM, but they say they don't work or integrate with Zillow, but how do we get this set up? And we got that working. So if that's something you want, then you can reach out to us or reach out to your business consultant. Jim, you should see I think it was Total Expert to answer your question about the one that's not on the screen. I believe that was Total Expert, right, Liz?
Yes. And they generally go through your company. So they're not Total Expert is not tailored towards the individual loan officer, and more they sell their product to whole companies. So if you leave where you are, you may and go to a different employer, you may end up working with Total Expert. But they are sort of new on the scene, and we're seeing a lot of people switching to them and a lot of financial institutions switching to them. So just hearing about these it is good in getting them in front of you. Big Purple Dot is probably the one we recommend the most, and that's just because it's really approachable and low cost, and it is tailored to the individual loan officer. And so that's one where we sort of just suggest that one, and plus it's got a real fun name. So
yeah, it's hard to forget Big Purple Dot. It's the random names, like where did it come from? You know, we did a webinar with them about, I want to say maybe last summer. It's been a while. So that should be on our resource center if you're interested. They kind of go into what services they provide more specifically in their system. And we talk a little bit more about general CRM features that everyone should have, or at least be cognizant of, so you can take advantage of the automation that allows you to take a lot of those little workflow processes that take up your time that really don't need to, like, you know, creating all these email templates and making sure that you're chugging people along that pipeline, it does that for you. So those are some of the features that we talked about. I see your question, Jed, about top of mind. Top of mind is something that we've tried to, it's a company, I think it's Surefire, if I'm not mistaken. I've talked to them myself in the past, and at the time they didn't integrate with us. I know that they're interested. I just don't know where we're at in that process. We can take that conversation offline if you wanted to reach out to us, and we can try to get more information for you. I'm not sure if you have a business consultant, if you're currently advertising with us or not, but just you can reach out to me directly, Mary WE at ZillowGroup.com, and I'll double check for you.
And it looks like Christina Gibson about Jungo, and we do definitely integrate with Jungo.
Yes. They're pretty great, especially if you have Salesforce. We use Salesforce in-house for all of our contact management. So the likelihood of anyone reaching out to me, I'm going to go into Salesforce and log those notes just so that the next person you talk to here at Zillow knows that you talked to me and what we talked about. So that's something that we use in-house. Salesforce is awesome, and Jungo obviously helps tie that together with them. But we want to make sure we have time to go through the rest of our content. I won't be able to answer questions about what specific CRMs we integrate with live, but feel free to reach out to us. We can double check for you. And then we're going to push some of these questions to the end of the webinar, just again, to make sure we have time to cover everything else. So the next thing we're going to talk about were those customer satisfaction scores and why they're important and why our lenders should care about them.
Yeah, so customer satisfaction surveys are something we've wanted to do for a really long time. So we've always had reviews on the website, but reviews only paint a certain part of the picture. So people are generally leaving reviews after the loan closes. And so what we have started to do is send out customer satisfaction surveys early in the process. If this person connects with you through any lead source on Zillow, so if they contact you through their profile, if you're co-marketing and you get contacted through a property or through our Connect form, that's a 17 questionnaire where a borrower goes in and says, I want to speak to someone right now. We will send out a customer satisfaction survey at a 3-day interval. And we're doing that because we want to make sure, number one, that you contacted them. And we want to, because that's a really important experience. That person said, I am ready to talk. And we said, Zillow said, okay, talk. And we want to make sure that that actually happens as it's supposed to. And so we're getting those surveys out as quickly as possible, just to gauge how the interaction went to start. Now, if that borrower says this person never contacted me, we're gonna make sure that we hook them up with a loan officer that's gonna contact them. So it's very important that you either use your CRM or have really good business practices internally and amongst your team, that if you are getting a lead through Zillow, you are contacting them right away and really giving them a good first impression and a good first experience. And when we're doing this, it's still very early in the process. And so we don't know what all of this data means yet, but we are going to start incorporating it into how we select what lenders and borrowers to pair up. So it's very important that you're not missing appointments, that you are operating with speed, a sense of urgency to get in touch with these borrowers and to get those first initial conversations.
Yeah, there's nothing really worse than going online, expecting that instant gratification, reaching out to someone and hoping that they get back to you in a timely manner, to just never get a call. Or even if you're advertising with us, we have this feature where the borrower can go in and schedule an appointment, and if no one calls them at that scheduled time, that's a terrible experience. And we here at Zillow Group are very much about the consumer experience, and this is just one of the ways that we're trying to help our borrowers and our buyers and we have so many different consumer personas, but we're trying to make sure that they all have this excellent, amazing experience on our site. And that includes with the connections that they make with the professionals who are on our site. Whether or not you're advertising is a different story, but that's the whole point of us really looking into this and make sure that people have that great experience overall.
And you'll see from this screenshot and the lovely cat picture, really we're just asking, have you been in contact yet? How is everything going? And we give them the opportunity to write us a little note as well. And so if they have really positive feedback, our plan is to pass that on to you as the loan officer, just, you know, to keep you motivated going. And also if there's negative feedback, we want you to know that so that you can improve your own internal processes as well. And the goal is to just improve your business, improve the feeling of the borrower, identify problems early also, so that, okay, that first impression went terribly. You have the opportunity to salvage it. Here's the feedback that they said. They want more contact, they want less contact, and you can adjust yourself to those borrowers' needs. And this gives you a really clear indication early on as to what this person wants from you. So we'll be rolling out hopefully more of that as we collect more of this data. This is a relatively new data point for us, and we're only in the beginning stages of collecting this feedback from borrowers. But we do have big plans for this moving forward, and it will likely start factoring into all sorts of the sorting throughout the website, potentially the lender directory, in the same way that verified reviews do. So we have, and we'll get on to verified reviews as our next point. If anyone has any questions about customer satisfaction surveys, it's fairly self-explanatory, but if you have any questions, feel free to add them into the chat window there.
Yeah, and there's a couple of chats and questions coming in, and as we said, this is still relatively new. We're still exploring to see how we can better the experience for everyone, and we understand that people are going to be people. Working in customer service, we know that not everyone's going to be happy. So even if you do everything possible to help someone, they might come back and just have something negative to say. So, we're mindful of that, and we're just looking to see where these options take us. So nothing's set in stone right now, and things are subject to change as usual. I think one of the cliches in tech is that the only constant is change. So just know that we're going to continually look into that and communicate that with you. And if anything big does change, so Jim, to address your question about advertising and how this affects your long form or your Connect, for example, at the moment it does not. So we will be messaging anything out if anything does change.
Absolutely. And it's not displayed on the screen. We may change the messaging around this. Have you been in contact with the lender? There is another box following this screen that says, why haven't you been in contact? And that's where we're getting the bulk of our information, which is, I wasn't available, it's on me, or it's no one ever reached out to me, or I just got an email, but I was expecting a call. And so that is really meaningful content as well, but we are going to be playing with this customer satisfaction survey in order to get richer data to really figure out what is going on with these interactions. Is it the consumers who kind of just filled out the form and weren't really ready? Or is it an LO issue, and people just are not working the lead all the way through, or they're too busy, or they're getting too many leads, or whatever it is. So you won't be penalized for not getting on the phone with them if you've made an attempt, and the person is just saying, it was actually me, I was the reason why we haven't connected yet. That is totally fine. We are finding a way to capture that data so that there's no misunderstanding within the customer satisfaction surveys.
Perfect. So we do want to jump into the reviews part. And I do see a question in here about reviews. Hopefully we'll be able to answer that in our next section. So we're going to talk first about how we're helping with reviews, right? Or how did you want to open that up? I'll let you lead with that.
Yeah, okay, so with reviews, there are two ways to get them. So you can go out and solicit reviews from the happy people that you know that you have helped. The other thing that Zillow will do is, if that is a contact that comes through us, at 45 days after that contact goes through our system, we will send out an email on your behalf. And that email will say, hey, how did this lender do? Go ahead and leave a review. And that is how you get verified reviews. So if that person used that email address to contact you through Zillow, and then they go back through and leave a review with that same email address, we know that Zillow was involved in that transaction in some way. Like we have confirmation of that, and that's why the reviews then become verified, and that's how they become verified. Now, if you're not getting leads through us, you really won't be able to collect very many verified reviews. And what you're gonna want to do is not send out your review request link to everybody in your Rolodex. You really want to send out your review request link to those people that you know had a really good, satisfied experience. You closed on time, there weren't changes, there weren't underwriting issues. And there's a lot of things that you can do proactively around review solicitation. And Mary is like the expert on this. Really, letting them know, calling them before you send out the review request link and saying, hey, Joe, how are the Packers this season? Just so you know, I am sending you a link to leave a review. If there's a reason why, if there's anything that you want to talk to me about, why you wouldn't give me a 5-star review, let's hash it out now. But I really appreciate if you would take the time to leave me a review. That's how that would really impact my business. However you want to handle that, you can put your own spin on it. That's just my spin. I like the Packers. But you want to talk to them ahead of time and not just, spam everybody that you know. And then additionally, on some other websites, other websites do allow real estate agents, title company folks, closing attorneys to leave reviews of your service. On Zillow, we actually don't allow that because there's a conflict of interest, and borrowers want to hear from other borrowers. Now, if you closed a loan for any of those professionals, they can absolutely leave a review for you, but it really needs to be about their own personal experience and not about shared clientele. So that's one of the caveats to our review system.
And obviously that would be a big reason why a review would be rejected or returned to the borrower for editing, because our system, or we know that that's coming from another professional. We actually do have a question about why a review would be declined.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to cover some of the top reasons for us?
Totally. So there's quite a few reasons why a review might get returned. The important thing to note is we've returned it to the borrower. So we're asking them to either add some content, remove some content in most cases. And they get an email from Zillow that explains in pretty good detail as to what needs to be added or removed in order to make the review publishable by our guidelines. Now, there are a few caveats to that, one being if it's a colleague. So you work at US Bank, your colleague works at US Bank, your US Bank colleague cannot review you. There's a clear conflict of interest there. You are co-marketing with a real estate agent on Zillow. That real estate agent comes in and says, yeah, they're paying for a portion of my spend. They're a really good lender. There's a clear conflict of interest there, family members. And that's the one caveat where people get frustrated, because most of us have helped our family members close a loan, but they can't leave you a review. And it looks really bad because if your last name is Shehorn, like mine, and I have a review from a Shehorn on my Zillow profile, everybody's like, well, this is clearly fake. What we don't want to do is have people question our system and question the validity of the reviews that are on our platform. We really want to make sure that there's consumer trust in the reviews, know that they are very likely an authentic person who you really did close a loan for. And all of that really undermines the system. Additionally, and this is really important to note, do not allow a borrower to complete a review from your office. Don't let them do it from a device that you own. We do have insight into that, and it looks bad. It's fraudulent. It looks fraudulent. Some people have the best of intentions. They may bring an iPad to closing and say, well, I'm here. Go ahead and leave a review for me. Now our system sees you have 7 reviews from the same device. They need to write their review from their home or office location. We really want to make sure that people are making their own account. You've closed a loan for them. The review is for you personally, not for somebody else on your team. If you have team members that are licensed, they should all have profiles. And we do allow consumers to leave reviews for anybody that assisted them in their transaction. So potentially, if Matt, Joe, and Susan all helped with the loan, the borrower could leave a review for all 3 of them, and you may show up 1, 2, and 3 in your location in our directory. So it actually helps you to have every team member on your team have their own profile. And then inevitably, when teams break up, people can take their reviews with them when they go. And there's no infighting. What we used to have a problem with on our website is early on, we allowed these team profiles or couple profiles. And when, a divorce or something would happen, there was this huge infighting, like, no, those are my reviews. No, those are my reviews. And this is how we resolve that, which is you have your own reviews. And Susan has her own reviews and Joe has his own reviews. And that's just how we do it.
Perfect. And of course, we've covered this quite a bit in past webinars with Jessica and Jared, and all of those recordings are available on our resource center. So I encourage everyone to check those out. And then if you have a question or if you have a topic you'd like to see us cover in the future, I know we've solicited feedback for different topics, and some of those are actually in the works now. So we're working on a webinar to talk more about what advertising opportunities are available. We're actually in the middle of launching something brand new, and we'll be talking about it very soon. So I'm excited to do a webinar on that in the near future. But if there's anything in particular you're interested in, just let us know, pop it into the comments or send us an email. I'm going to go back and share that resource center page so that you can reach out to us at that information. So again, mortgage webinars at zillowgroup.com for any webinar related email, question, scheduling, things like that. And then if you have questions for the mortgage support team, you need help with your profile, you have questions about reviews, you get locked out of your account, any of that kind of stuff, they're there to help. And their email is, again, mortgagasupport@zillowgroup.com.
Excellent. And I'll answer Ulysses' question about, do we have levels of profiles? So currently we do not. But what we do have is a fairly complex algorithm based on how many reviews you have, how recent those reviews are, your overall review score, your overall star rating. Why we've added recency to that is we have people who've been on our platform since 2008. And they were collecting reviews early on, but have since stopped. And so we have valued recency, and then things change, underwriters change, you change locations. And so your loan experience and the experience you provide changes. If you're a loan officer who started out early, you may have been dinged a few stars. That's why we value the recency a little bit more. We've added that into our algorithm. And so reviews within the last 90 days are weighted a little heavier than reviews that were previously obtained. And then also, you know, someone's on vacation or you're dealing with family issues or something, after 90 days, if let's say you get a few bad reviews after 90 days, those are sort of punted out of the mix a little bit more, and not weighted as heavily.
Which is, I think, pretty fair. Because if you go to other sites where you see all the star ratings, people are just, they look at the star ratings as a way to gauge whether or not they even want to engage with that person. So our system is a little bit more lax with that, and it's a little bit more intuitive. Like, okay, this might have not been the best experience, but we know that you're, based on these other star ratings that you've gotten, that you're capable of providing a great experience, so you get another shot. All right, so we are out of time. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Again, reach out to us if you have any additional questions or if you need any help. We're absolutely thrilled to help you out. So I hope you all have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye, guys.